"I miss my daddy. He said he'd come back." The first word she whispered after 3 days of silence. It wasn't because she'd forgotten. It was because every detail clung to her, unshakable. The laughter that echoed in hallways, the gentle squeeze of a hand in a crowded street, the promises uttered with pure conviction. Everything comes back in slow motion when you lose your world all at once. For Norah, Malcolm Jamal Warner's daughter, that's what grief looked like. A bright beach, the smell of sunblock, a single red and yellow beach ball bobbing in the waves, and a sudden, impossible goodbye. It's not the kind of heartbreak that whispers, it roars. The internet is still breaking, shattered in real time as footage of her collapse circles from account to account, a tidal wave no one expected to drown in. The whole world saw the video. That final image, a little girl falling to the ground, screaming for the man who gave his life for her happiness. Comments flooded in by the millions. There was nothing viral about her pain. There was only raw human truth. And all of it. Every tear, every tribute, every repost started from a single ordinary moment. Because tragedy doesn't wait for the cameras to focus or for the day to go perfectly. Irony is cruel. It was just a family outing, another chance for Malcolm and Norah to leave the world behind. All they wanted was to be ordinary, father and daughter, sandcastles and jokes, away from TV credits and studio lights. No one on the beach that morning had any idea they were watching a final chapter unravel. No directors, no audience, just the two of them. Laughter mixing with the gulls as Norah buried his legs in the sand and crowned him the chocolate statue. Strangers smiled, snapped photos. Sunlight played across Malcolm's face, caught somewhere between recognition and simple contentment. A dad, not a headline. A moment, not a memory. But then, life's cracks appear. The wind picks up. A tiny ball skips away from careless hands, a red and yellow blur inching toward the horizon. It's such a simple thing to want your toy back, to know your parent will chase anything if you call. Norah didn't hesitate. "Daddy, my ball's going." Wide eyes, the rising panic only a child can feel. He smiles, the soft, unhurried way parents do when they want their child to forget the world's sharp edges. "Don't cry, baby, I'll get it back." That's the last smile. That's the memory that breaks, again and again, as the replay button is pressed by people who will never understand the cost. He runs. Chest deep in the water, sun on his shoulders, reaching for the thing that mattered only because it mattered to her. That's all love is sometimes, the willingness to step into danger to keep a promise no matter how small. But nature doesn't bend for anyone. Out beyond the laughter, past the safety lines, an undercurrent waits. Earlier that week, 2 others had been pulled under, swallowed without a word. The warnings were gone, ripped away by wind, authorities slow to act. No lifeguard, no red flags. Just a beach brimming with families and risk hiding in plain sight. He swims harder. Arms slicing the water, eyes locked on the ball. Each stroke is for her. Each second, further from safety, closer to the reason he woke up every morning. Everyone's watching now, the beach turning cold, whispers shifting to shouts. Trouble doesn't announce itself, it just arrives. The wave rises, a shadow, then a mountain. In one brutal moment, a father is taken out of reach. No one moved quickly enough. Cell phones dropped, cameras forgotten. Panic can't save you when the ocean's already chosen. Norah froze. Fists clenched, whispering the only promise she'd ever believed. He'll come back. He always comes back. But beneath the churning surface, the truth settled. 11 minutes for the ambulance, another 9 for the divers to pull him from the grip of the sea. And in his arms, one bright red and yellow ball. Even in the very last moment, he kept his word. The image was unbearable. Still, cold, clutching the only proof that promise matters, right to the end. It didn't take long for the internet to erupt. Old Cosby Show clips resurfaced, tributes filled timelines, anchors stammered through their tears. But none of that noise touched the quiet space where Norah waited. 3 days, not a word. No screaming, no sobbing, just a staring match with the waves, for answers, for a sign, for any hint that the world could spin backward, just once, and make it all right. Reporters circled like sharks, neighbors brought casseroles. Friends called and texted, but she only held tighter to her father's sweater, damp with salt water, a thin shield against a storm nobody could block. what made it worse? She watched the video. The final footage, taken by a stranger's phone, looped again and again. Her father diving, the wave rising, chaos in the background. Each replay a silent hope. This time, maybe, he wins. Can a heart that small survive a loss this huge? Family insiders whispered about guilt gnawing at Malcolm in recent months. He wanted to get it right after too many missed moments. Touring, filming, putting the world first, and coming home only when the work was done. The whole trip was his way back to her, a promise to fill her memory with laughter before time took both of them away from childhood. "I just want her to remember me laughing," he told a friend. And now all she had was the echo of it. The memorials sprouted up, first online, then at the beach, the place that became both a playground and a grave. Flowers lined the sand, messages piled up. "You didn't just save her, you saved all of us." Even celebrities felt the earthquake. Oprah called it the most heartbreaking father-daughter story of the decade. Taraji P. Henson posted the handwritten letter that went viral, scrawled in crayon, left at the beach where hope had once lived. It read, "Dear Daddy, I hope heaven has beaches. I hope they let you swim without waves. I hope you still have my ball. I'll wait here until you come back. Love, your girl." Over 15 million people read it in 2 days. Hashtags exploded. Our justice for Jamal, our fathers, saved our hero dad. But the girl at the heart of the story? She sat at the edge of her bed, holding a beach ball, whispering to the darkness, "Come back, Daddy." The silence didn't last forever. Something changed inside her the day she stepped back into the courtroom. A place colder than the sea, harsher than any headline. This time, Norah walked with a kind of gravity learned only through loss. She held his chain, the metal warm against her palm, stubbornly refusing to believe it could be dead cold forever. Reporters dropped their pens, judges paused mid-sentence. Everyone seemed smaller in the presence of a grief that couldn't be contained. That's when the prosecutor pressed play. New footage on a dusty monitor, a security camera outside a school, grainy and shaking, but crystal clear in what mattered most. There's Malcolm, arguing with a man in a dark hoodie. The scene unfolds like a nightmare. The man gestures, pulling something out. Malcolm steps in front, shielding his daughter. The screen goes black, but the implication is blinding. The courtroom gasped. This was no accident. This was an ambush. Jamal Warner gave his life, not just for a beach ball, but for her future. This moment, unreleased until now, transformed everything. The whispers in the pews became a gasp. His mother's scream echoed off marble. Officers carried her outside, wailing for what the world had lost. Norah didn't cry. She didn't even blink, just stood tethered to that frozen image on screen. Her father lunging, mid-shield. The defense tried to poke holes. Maybe it was random. Maybe he didn't mean to be a hero. That's when she stood up. "No." One syllable, but it cracked the air wider open than a scream. He knew. He told me to lock the door. He chose to stand between me and danger. That was love. That was heroic. That was my dad. Her words ricocheted through the room. Jurors wiped away tears. The bailiff looked away. A kind of silence fell, thick as grief and grief's unnameable logic. But Norah's strength finally had a cost. She broke, folding onto the courtroom floor while the world listened. For the first time, a raw, gut-wrenching cry. It was more than sound. It was years of confusion, heartbreak, and stolen innocence, all crashing into reality at once. Someone caught the audio. It spread faster than the facts. The cry that shook the courtroom became the soundtrack to a nation's mourning. The hashtags changed, the outrage built. He died for her. She didn't cry until now. News anchors wiped away tears on air. Debates flared about the meaning of sacrifice and the cost of family secrets. But for one girl, alone in her room, the headlines didn't matter. Pain moves differently when it's yours. Grief doesn't care who's watching. For days, she said nothing. Her silence now a form of power rather than helplessness. Meanwhile, the story deepened. New evidence surfaced. Witnesses, rumors, online speculation about why Malcolm was a target. Some claimed it was jealousy over a creative partnership gone wrong. Others whispered about debts, about a crazy fan with a grudge. Every new thread drew more attention, but the truth was simpler and harder to face. He was murdered because he stood up. He died because he refused to run. The court finally recognized his sacrifice. This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. This case will proceed under new charges. The emotion in the room outshone the flicker of cameras as the world realized it didn't lose just a TV star. It lost a genuine hero. Norah walked out of the courthouse that day, sunlight on her face. This time she didn't flinch because she carried her father's memory like armor, proof that love's legacy never really dies. The day of the funeral, the air itself seemed heavier, as if the world knew nothing would ever be the same. Heavily veiled faces, eyes swollen from endless crying, and a silence more tangible than any eulogy. Norah hadn't spoken since the new footage was shown. She didn't hug anyone, didn't share her pain. Not even the therapist could reach her. The only thing she gripped was the folded American flag given to her at the service, a cruel replacement for a warm hand. No words until at the side of the casket that haunted silence cracked. "He died saving my life." It felt like the room stopped breathing. Everyone stood still, a single sentence reverberating as the truth. Even those closest to him were stunned. Until that moment, the narrative had been half-truths and public speculation. The public knew about the fire, some mysterious alarms, but never all the secrets. What they didn't realize was that Malcolm didn't just die in a blaze, he ran into it. Security footage revealed him kicking down a locked door, choking on smoke, pushing Norah to safety through a window, then collapsing before help arrived. No one in the church was ready for what happened next. A woman stood up at the back, slender, holding a child with Malcolm's eyes. Grief tore through the church in a new direction. Who was she? She made her way to the front, placed a letter on Malcolm's casket, then stepped back. It was his former fiancé. The child was his son, hidden away from the press, a secret even from Norah. No one knew there would be more heartbreak. She stared, frozen in shock. The man she worshipped, the hero of her story, had quietly built another family. And he'd never told her. It took a long moment before she could move. The priest's trembling voice tried to carry the room, but shock won out. The letter explained everything. Malcolm's final wish, not in a will, not handed through lawyers, but written in pain, inked in secrecy. "To my children, both of you, you are the best part of me. I didn't get it right, but I'd trade my life 1,000 times to keep you safe. I hope you'll find each other and forgive me." Those words cut through every expectation, shattering the family's fragile sense of peace. Norah ran. Out of the church, past the cameras, away from the whispers. Not toward headlines, but toward the only place that still felt like his. A small, dusty studio filled with old guitar cases, broken notebooks, and one last unplayed tape. Chaos inside, water-damaged journals, ruined tracks, a lifetime of half-finished songs. But under a faded cloth, she found it. A recorded birthday track, left unfinished. Her father singing softly, "Hey baby, if you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it. I love you, always." She didn't respond with words. Instead, she sang her own verse over his melody, through tears. Someone recorded it and posted a short clip. It spread like wildfire. In just a day, millions watched. The story became bigger than loss. The world got to see what unconditional love really means. She kept going, even as the world refused to leave her alone. Through the tears, through every exposed family secret, the world saw a daughter turn pain into power. But Norah's pain wasn't the only mystery left unsolved. Whispers started swirling almost immediately about the fire. Tabloids theorized that it wasn't an accident at all. Some said a bitter ex or jealous partner had something to do with it. Rumors flared, online debates blazed. Police reopened the investigation. Was it fate, or was there malice behind the flames? Reports surfaced that a key witness had disappeared. A former studio assistant was questioned, but nothing was ever proven. Speculation became part of Norah's daily reality, the noise never stopping. Through all this, Norah went quiet again. But this was the silence of someone resolved to write her own story. Outside, the frenzy continued. Cameras on the sidewalk, hashtags trending daily, news crews camped by her door. But inside, she found comfort in shards of memory, the quiet defiance of a daughter refusing to let the last chapter be written by strangers. The truth about Malcolm wasn't the perfection the world wanted. He wasn't just a celebrity, not just a hero. He was flawed, desperate for love, and terrified of leaving his children unprotected. He hid pain and secrets because he was trying, in his own broken way, to keep everyone safe. And in the end, he gave everything for the people he loved most. As the weeks passed, Norah started to rebuild, not by forgetting, but by embracing the whole messy truth of her father's life. She turned his final, unfinished track into something new, a song that played on radio stations across the world. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. Because the world needed a reminder that heroes aren't just headlines. They're the people who sacrifice without being asked, the ones who dive into waves and flames because love leaves them no choice. The legacy wasn't a show, not a hashtag, not even a tragic headline. It was living proof that every broken promise, every mistake, every moment of fear can be redeemed by a single act of courage, a father choosing to save his world no matter the cost. That kind of love isn't for the movies. It lives on, stubborn, unkillable, in the hearts of those left behind. Norah still carries the guilt, wondering if she could have done something, anything, to keep her father from running into the water, or the flames, or the line of fire. She replays every moment, every decision. If she hadn't asked him to come that day, would he still be here? If she'd remembered her toy, would the story have been different? But guilt never brings people back. It just carves deeper scars. Yet the truth remains. Malcolm didn't hesitate. He ran toward danger, twice, for her. He became the shield he used to promise was only make-believe. In that, he taught his daughter, and the world, a lesson that can't ever be erased. A lesson about what love really is. Don't scroll away. Don't let this just be another story fading into the social media void. Think about Malcolm Jamal Warner, not just as a name or a role you saw on TV, but as a man who became the very definition of sacrifice. Heroes aren't just born. They're made in the moment they choose someone else over themselves, every single time. If you've felt broken by this story, you're not alone. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share it with anyone who's lost someone, anyone who still believes that real love means never leaving, even when it costs you everything. Because that's what heroes do, even when the world isn't watching.